but it's technically it's funded from the country contributions, right?
Right.
So like, and this is also why once you like first you need to have the balance for the proposal, but then the next step is to have as many different countries represented in your cost action as possible, because each of them chips in and your budget kind of increases the more countries you have in the action. And yeah, and they are very flexible. I don't know, or maybe it is just like because like each of the actions have their officer. We are kind of very, I think, happy about our working with our cost scientific officer. She was always very helpful, and yeah, and I think like the thing was that last year the cost was also kind of finishing their funding cycle, so they were actually splashing out. So it was very easy, but then so like to get the top up of the budget, but then this like for we are entering the grant period 3, and here we have like we just kind of we thought we would get a little bit more on top of the previous budget, and we got less because now they are restarting the thing anew, and but maybe we'll see what happens in December. You never know.
So in the proposal you do not specify budget?
No, that's very weird. I mean, you don't know how much money you'll get, but then again, it's kind of
which is good and bad, right?
yeah. Then it's kind of also very, you get like the core. I think it's once you learn it, it's okay. But at the first time, like to coordinate the cost action is kind of a very tedious process, because you have to learn. These guys are very kind of into their own kind of nomenclature for everything. They have the special rules for like funding, which you have to figure out and understand, and then the problem is that people that come, the cost action participants almost never read the reimbursement rules. So you have to when you want to like you want to give them money back, and still you have to kind of make them deliver the documents you need and so on and so forth. So that's but then you can after you survive the first grant period, then you're good more smooth, I would say.
Yeah. So we'll be happy to answer any, whatever questions may be on.
So, yeah, if there are some questions. So I have one question. So out of those 200 researchers that participated in some way, what is the core group of those who are engaged continuously with the working group? Is there some?
Oh, okay. This is of course
But
I think it's like
starting group.
Yeah.
Who was involved in when submitting the proposal?
So the core group is around 15 people.
Okay.
The core group includes the chair, we have co-chair, like the chair and vice chair of the working group. We have 6. The chair of the action. We have 6 working groups, so that's 12 people. Plus we have communicative officer. As like the coordinators for different activities and me. And so I think so that's that. And then it's really since it's another project, like people tend to kind of activate and deactivate themselves, like depending on their other stuff. But what I noticed is that like the cost action draw special kind of like two different kind of people are represented in BAU. One is kind of like very established academics who are basically like Professor Pawłowski here, who can basically are interested in what is happening in they are, you know, like they are not, you know, overwhelmed with many tasks. And then there are a lot of young people who, you know, like, and also like, and we had a problem, like, I think we just have a problem with that because like, from in cost actions you get the reimbursement for your travels like after the kind of after the event, and then there are many people who are basically who are active in the action, but then their own kind of institutional background is not very precarious. So there's also like always a matter of how fast we can process the, you know, like the reimbursement claims, so they get their money for traveling back. But that's basically the dynamics is between this very like the very senior people and the very early stage people, and those people in the middle, like we have like a bunch of them who you know who almost never come because they are busy with other stuff that they run, like have too many projects or they whatever, and they so their involvement is not that big, but it's a very good dynamics. I must say, you know. So like I think it's
So working groups in cost actions are more or less equivalent to work packages in
Yeah,
Horizon 2020?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
something like this. But maybe the difference is that it's more like individual. I mean, the cost actions are also like more like an individual thing. So I mean, basically that cost like H2020 proposal is more like institutions or teams cooperating also in different work packages. Here, you don't need institutional approval to be part of it. So it's more like a network of people who participate, and sometimes they participate in more than one, but we try to cap the participation to not more than 2 working groups, just basically because we want people to focus, and if there's something to be done in your spare time, that's probably just concentrate on one thing. So yeah, that's basically work. And as Piotr said, it's sometimes you usually you get like a core of people who are in the position of they have time to do it and they have like motivation to do something, but then sometimes they can be taken away by another project meanwhile, and some people just step in. But so usually it's like the group of people I do in actual work, of course, is smaller than the group of people who are involved. We got like 200 people like in total sort of involved in the activities, but yeah, it's not like they all
I mean, we have like a very, we are great entertainers in the action. So whenever we organize a meeting, like the thing is like the dynamics is also like I think like so whenever we are trying to meet, like especially for these big meetings where most of the people come, and these are around 80 people meetings, we tend to organize it in play. We had a meeting in Belgrade, now we're going to Tirana. And what happens is that we try to kind of do some kind of outreach activity. So we invite a lot of local people to speak to us, and so on and so forth. And then we register them on the program. So like eventually, like we have I think the biggest group of cohort right now of participants are from Poland, where we had our kickoff meeting, and from Serbia when we had our big event.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, it's called Net for Descent.
Yeah,
Because it's a new exploratory phase in research on East European cultures of descent. It's very long.
Net for
descent.eu. You have it right there.
Yeah.
I will share the screen.
Yeah, we should have brought some stickers. We have stickers.
Yeah, so I'm sharing the screen with the website for the project that you guys were talking about. Yeah. So yeah.
One more.
Yeah, so I like the visualization of the travels that you had.
Yeah, so there is like it's just like on the main page, like towards the bottom.
activity map. That's something that's
Yeah, and it's created in no-code environment, so it's like also
Okay,
enough
travels.
metadata here actually.
very nice visualization of the connections during the cost action. I really like the idea. Right. So, right. Any more questions to Maciej and Piotr?
Maybe one question, what about these network activities like creating web pages and so on?
Oh yeah, it's covered.
Do you have financial support from?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a small budget for dissemination basically. So it's websites and publications. Yeah.
There are
For
budget like
brochures,
so the budget is for maybe that's required. So one thing that you can organize is like meetings like this, right? Second thing, you have what they call the STSM, the cost lingo. So STSM stands for short-term scientific mission, and this is basically a grant of up to 2,500 euros to send one person to another person to work together on this kind of short-term project, right? Like mainly, basically, again, like it was meant first as something for the STEM sciences, and basically you go, my university sends me to a laboratory to kind of, I don't know, to crush some atoms or something. And then the third thing is like we have the conference grants, but the conference grants are only limited to, and then there's the other lingo, the early careers researchers from the inclusiveness target countries, which means that you have to be like less than 8 years after your PhD, and then you need to come from one of those countries that are listed as the inclusiveness target countries. Then you can organize summer schools, like the training schools, but like basically this kind of format when you have the trainees and trainers and so on and so forth. And then you have the dissemination money, from which you can the funny thing is that you can do like leaflets, but these we have to pay ourselves because they are very strict about what you can do, and they are against. So we will never produce a bag like this that we got today because you are not able to kind of buy the the USB sticks, and you're not doing that. So then, but to have money for sponsoring publications, there's also like some conditions apply, so it has to be a collective volume or like a kind of a journal issue, but kind of, I think it's kind of like researchers from 3 different cost action countries must be part of the publication, and then you sorry, I haven't heard you, but I'll tell you. So and then apart there are cost countries which are kind of like the signatories to this agreement, and then there are different other countries that you can work with. So like you have the near neighbor countries, which are basically like in our case it's just like like Belarus. I'm not sure Russia is the near neighbor country or the other one, because then there's the international partners, and so like
near neighbor.
So and then you can so then you have different categories of countries. You can work from everybody, everyone from the world, but you cannot fund everyone. That's the thing. So the near neighbor countries, you can we have people from Ukraine, we have people from Georgia, Albania, and the Russian Federation. But I think it also works for the US. But then there are some countries that you can work with, you can just do things together, or you can go you can visit them, but you cannot pay them to come to you. Anyway. But you can bring them to as invited speakers to your conferences, which is good, because when you have invited speakers, it can be probably anyone. And then there are some special rules when you want to work from the people from the EU agencies, but that I think doesn't concern us too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are more questions? I think so. Yeah. So we'll turn to the last part. So we are pretty much involved during the last weeks in working on documents. Like we prepared the mission statement first, then we prepared the proposal. So I didn't want to sort of talk about the same things again for those who are already in the Google group. Although I noticed there are some people who haven't been. So, but I have a presentation, and of course I have a presentation if someone wants to join the Google group and get access to some documents, then please feel free just to ask. Yeah. So a couple of words about the current state, but it's more about what to do next than about the idea. So if you want more information about the idea, then I will be glad to send you documents that we are working on or have worked on already. Yeah. So just so I didn't want to talk too much about the mission, but the basic idea behind the Bibliographical Data Working Group is to foster cooperation between all the parties involved in bibliographical data life cycle in the humanities, especially between data creators, curators, researchers, developers, and theories of documentation and bibliography. And the current status of our project is that we have already consulted preliminarily the EU management, so we asked about the main idea and got a green light. And we talked with VCC3 culture and consulted the idea a couple of times. So we had a whole round of invitations to the group of people who we found in the beginning interesting, but mostly what we found out is that the group built itself rather. So people were recommending, contacting others, and sort of naturally grew like that. So
can I just
jump,
because Francesca wanted to
Yeah,
some
sorry.
follow up on this consultation thing, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to jump in. So basically what we did, we sent this working group preliminary description to Evelyn van den Vogt, the chair for the Bibliographical group. And I had the chance to talk with her in person about it, and she just said that she doesn't see an overlap. Basically, they work with biographical data, but with entities. I mean, there may be some potential overlap in the future in terms of basically data management and working with metadata as such as a concept or whatever. So there is a possible link to do something together in the future. But definitely the scope is different. I mean, so there were two options. Either we do two working groups or somehow try to, incorporate as a part of working group, but they already are pretty advanced in what they're doing. So definitely she was pretty confident there's no overlap in this matter.
Yeah. So we talked, as I said, with in the last year already with Marcin Berlach and then Tomasz Barkoła about the working group and about connecting to the VCC3. Yeah, members invited. So as I said, basically it's more we think that it's more we have a couple of strands of bibliographical data covered right here, thanks to these great recommendations from members, and we decided to have individual Skype sessions. So we are halfway through them and want to finish it. Those were also great to learn more about different members, talk with them, answer the questions. So we are halfway through those Skype calls. So yeah, and we plan to finish it with Wojciech. And then we created a mission statement document that we used to send to the members, which had the idea of the working group. And based on that, members were deciding whether to join or not. And then we obtained, I think it was in October last year, we obtained from Francesca the document with the template, the rules for working group, and one example of the filled out template. And so we recently started just working on the document for the actual templates. So right now it's in consultation, so there are some comments but we are nearing the end of it right now. So yeah, what we created also, we have a nice presentation of the members also, so it's something also that can be looked at. So it really was helpful for us to sort of get a sense of who is involved in bibliographical data, and that there are different kinds of working with bibliographical data. So that was really nice thing for us, right? So that is also something that we created can be. Yeah.
And all this information like on the members, I think they will be very nice to put on the website, on the Dario website. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now. So. Right. So. Yeah, those are right the main documents right now. So what we also what came out of this round of consultations and creation of the documents is that we have a preliminary members overview, which is sort of like the analysis of the bibliographical field right now. So we have bibliometric and science evaluation experts interested in bibliographical data. We have some cultural analytics specialists, data-driven studies on culture through bibliographical data. We have representatives of data creators, research infrastructure, so people who produce data. We have some developers who work with bibliographical data, data processing, metadata quality, metadata specialists and analysts. And so we think that, like, based on that, we do clearly see that there are like specialized strands within this bibliographical data. People are interested about what others are doing with the similar data. Yeah. So and there's now is the task to sort of get more people in contact who are working with the very similar data but in a slightly different way, but in the humanities. So that's, I think, interesting. So we are now satisfied with how diverse the working group is, as it will help us to better understand the European bibliographical landscape of ecosystem. And this diversity should be maintained in the future, as different strands of bibliographical work are well developed, are very specialized, but not always well connected. So that's our main, the conclusion. So we also talked in these documents and on the Skype calls, we talked about what will be the concrete goals to achieve in the near future, because that's what will keep the group sort of together, working on specific stuff and not too many goals to have. It's a good idea. So we are definitely thinking about a report or paper to be decided on European bibliographical data landscape. So, but the form and scope of it should be decided in the next month. But this was definitely something that when we talked with the members, they were interested in and sort of contribute to it. So we also have the idea to connect right now through the online calls, larger calls or events, so to sort of to keep this online connection going right now. And we would like to come up with some idea for interesting online sessions that will connect people in sort of in such a way to work on it, because it is more sustainable than counting on the travels and meeting together. So that's why we also aimed for a little bit more members, like 2025, to have this possibility to organize regular events. We know that people are, busy, but to organize events like for 7-8 people, it's not a bad thing also. So if someone is part of cannot attend, but
And I forgot to tell you to say before that actually Dario can give you, we can organize for you like a Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
So like we own the instance, but we can give you like a virtual room to have the meeting.
That
And
would
it's
be,
more stable than Skype.
yeah, that would be great. That would be great. When we have, yeah, definitely would be interested in it. And so we thought about the cost action, but definitely for 2020, not for 2019, but maybe for the autumn of 2020, it would be more realistic. Yeah, to
There's
think
no
about
rush,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, no rush, no but. Yeah. So what to do next after the today's meeting and the next weeks? Trying to close some things before the holidays, summer holidays. So finishing up the establishment of the working group, so submitting the proposal is crucial right now, of course. So what we think also is that we should get like more data producers on board, because we have researchers and we wanted to get more data producers. We are data producers department with Wojciech, and yeah, but it's our task basically to maybe contact it in some way with libraries and libraries and others, so that it's something to be concerned about. And other members also suggested like contacting like bibliographical catalogs more and so on, but we sort of tried to connect with some library associations, didn't succeed with it, but maybe we did something wrong, so we should get back to it. Yeah, and finishing up the individual Skype sessions with the members. Yeah. So what we wanted to achieve those main goals, so the report and the idea for online events and cost action, we think that 2 meetings can help us that we wanted to organize in the next month. So the first meeting is that we realized, which is not something surprising, but that many members will be in Utrecht on ADHO conference. So we thought about organizing a meeting in Utrecht. I think it's a possibility to do so. Yeah, and so we will be connecting with the members right now and sending some form to set up a date when it works for everyone, because it might be easier to meet there than for a dedicated meeting for many members. So this would be nice because it's in July. It's quite soon. Yeah. And we also planned for the working group's kick-off meeting in Prague. And here we also have to decide on the term. 2 terms are possible: November 2019. November 2019 or February 2020. So the Institute of Literary Research in Prague is inviting. There are some discounted accommodations possible and so on. So about the Utrecht meeting, we'll be sending out the form and hoping to meet at least with part of the members there. And we can sort of contact the organizers of the ADHO conference and try to get a place for it. We'll see. But we'll be sending out the form already in May, I think, because it's very soon. Yeah, and then we wanted to organize this kick-off meeting in Prague, and there's a crucial decisions to be made when to do it. November 2019 or February 2020, and pretty much depending on this decision, we will decide what the agenda will be. If the meeting will be in February 2020, then we want us to start with the online sessions in autumn, not to wait almost like a year from where we started, so because it's a bad idea, I think. But we will also set up a form to decide of the term, because I think that we couldn't really think about what the term could be better for the members. There's no way to decide it right now. So, but each term is quite alright, but we will then do different things in the next months. Yeah, so to sum up, short presentation of the current state. So after the finishing of the consultations for the working group proposal, we are submitting it and waiting on the results. Simultaneously, we are basically focusing on setting up a meeting in Utrecht and setting up the term for Prague, the general term for the Prague meeting. Those will be the most important decisions after this consultation of the working group proposal. So when we agree on the terms, we'll just adjust the agenda, but basically during meeting in Utrecht and during the meeting in Prague, we'll be discussing, I think, mostly how to approach the report or the paper right now, and how to approach the idea for online events to get a sense of it. And there are very experienced researchers in the working group, so surely can come up to maybe good ideas for both, but it would be better probably to meet in person to do it. Yeah. So and we also have a Twitter account. Yeah. So yeah, and so we'll be using it for spreading the message a little bit outside of the working group, and yeah. So please, if you want, so we will follow and we will be giving the updates on what's going on.
May I add something to?
Yeah.
Because so understand. I mean, the first thing, of course, is the proposal, and that would be that's out on the, and I think we will be working it online. But the second thing, I guess that we can already think about this paper or report or whatever it's going to be on bibliographical data as a sort of stub for the cost proposal or whatever proposal. So basically, like thinking what what the landscape is and what are the issues or problems we would like to deal with.
Connect the two things, right?
Yeah, in a way, I mean, it's like, effort economy in a way, but on the other, it's like, it basically should, like one stems from the other. I mean, there's like an overview of the field and you see what's missing and what could be done and what sort of, what sort of problems you see, and accordingly you can plan for working groups in the future which could tackle this subject. So I would see, and I could imagine that this document and the proposal would be actually tightly linked in terms at least of ideas. So that would be my suggestion.
That's great. So if you have any